You got him one called Chaos?
I don't know how to open this.
You got the Chaos one. That's funny.
It is 12:48 in the afternoon. A Thursday, a workday, a medical office complex on 4th Avenue Circle East in Bradenton, Florida. People at their desks, phones ringing, the ordinary sound of an ordinary afternoon. Then a door opens. A man walks in. He is not lost. He is not confused. He knows exactly which desk he is walking to. He has known for 2 years. He raises a shotgun. And in the next 30 seconds, 2 women's lives change forever. One of them permanently. Stay with me. Because the answer to that question is not what most people expect. Now, let's talk about Myshaela Burnham. Who she was, what she was building, and what was taken from her on January 15th, 2026. Myshaela Renee Burnham, born October 25th, 1996 in Tampa, Florida. She grew up in Manatee County alongside her older sister Brianna, the two of them close in the way sisters are when they are each other's first friend. From early on, Myshaela was the kind of person you noticed, not because she demanded attention, because being around her felt good. Her energy arrived before she did. In high school at Bayshore High, she was a competitive dancer, a baton twirler. She performed. She showed up. She made it look effortless. And she probably worked twice as hard as anyone watching her knew. After graduating in 2016, she earned her certificate in massage therapy from Manatee Technical College. Then she moved into the medical field and built her way into a role as a home health coordinator. She kept building. She kept moving. The job wasn't glamorous. It was consistent. It was hers. She found her peace at Light of the World Church in Sarasota, a faith community she had grown into as an adult. The performance of her teenage years had quieted into something deeper, something she had chosen for herself. Above everything else, above the job, the church, the friendships, the plans, Myshaela was a mother. Her son was 6 years old. 6 years old. Old enough to know his mother, old enough to remember her laugh, old enough to ask one day questions that nobody should have to answer. He was her whole world, and the GoFundMe her sister Brianna created after January 15th said it quietly and precisely. This fund is for his future, not for a funeral, for his future. Because that is how Myshaela thought, always forward. Her older sister Brianna Fisher spoke to reporters in the days after she lost her.
She was a phenomenal woman, just a very vibrant person, and she brought that in to everything. Not just her family, but her work, that she was more than this. That's what I want people to know. That she was more than what happened to her. That she had a life that was so full, and she was really thriving.
In the months before January 2026, Myshaela had made a decision. A difficult one. A necessary one. She had ended a long-term relationship. According to police records and the man's own admission to investigators, that relationship had been marked by jealousy, by domestic violence. She had kept most of it from her family. Her sister Brianna would later say she had no idea how toxic it truly was.
His words to the police, it's made me feel even more distraught because I wasn't aware of their relationship and how toxic it was.
Myshaela had gotten out. She was rebuilding. She was by every account thriving. What her family didn't know, what Myshaela herself may not have fully understood, was that the man she had left had not accepted that it was over. And he had not just started thinking about that recently. Keith Roberts Jr. was 29 years old, the same age as Myshaela. He worked as a security guard at Manatee Memorial Hospital in Bradenton, a job that carried the implicit trust of a medical institution, a place built around protecting the vulnerable. He wore a uniform. He had a badge. He had a title. To anyone looking from the outside, he was employed, responsible, present. Inside the relationship with Myshaela, police records tell a different story. By his own admission, spoken voluntarily to investigators after his arrest, the relationship had been marked by jealousy and domestic violence. They broke up in August 2025, 5 months before the shooting. He confirmed to investigators that she ended it because of how he treated her. He did not take it well. But here is the detail that changes the entire shape of this story. What Roberts told investigators, in his own words, after waiving his right to remain silent, was that his thoughts about killing Myshaela did not start after she left him. They did not start when she stopped returning his calls. He told investigators he had been thinking about killing her for at least 2 years. 2 years. That means while they were still together, while she was still in that relationship, still waking up every morning next to someone she was trying to love, he was already there. Inside that thought. Sitting with it. Waiting. January 15th, 2026. A Thursday. Myshaela went to work, the medical processing lab on 4th Avenue Circle East in Bradenton. She sat at her desk. Her coworker, 26-year-old Summer Freitag, sat at the adjoining desk, close enough that their workdays overlapped, their conversations crossed, their mornings shared the same air. It was a regular day. Nothing in the atmosphere of that building suggested what was coming. At 12:51 p.m., Myshaela's sister Brianna called her. They spoke. It was the last time Brianna would ever hear her voice. "The last time I spoke to her was at 12:51 on Thursday," Brianna said. "It happened right then or shortly after." Earlier that same morning, Roberts had called Myshaela. They spoke for 2 hours. 2 hours. By his own account to investigators, that conversation gave him what he called clarity. By the end of it, he understood, definitively, finally, that she was not coming back. That it was over. That he was not going to change her mind. For most people, that is a painful truth. You grieve it, you sit with it, eventually you move on. Roberts made a different decision. After the call ended, he got into his black Ford Edge. He had with him a 12-gauge shotgun and a .40 caliber handgun. He drove to the medical complex where Myshaela worked. He did not hesitate at the entrance. He did not sit in the parking lot and reconsider. He walked through an unlocked door, and he went directly to her desk. He knew exactly where it was. At 12:48 p.m., Keith Roberts Jr. raised the shotgun. He fired at Myshaela at point-blank range. She was shot in the face. She died instantly. The blast also struck Summer Freitag at the adjoining desk, because she was that close. Because there was no way to be that close to Myshaela and not be in the path of what he brought into that room. Roberts then drew the .40 caliber handgun. He shot Summer 4 times. He fired additional rounds into Myshaela's body. Then he walked out. The building erupted. People ran.
New tonight, we're learning more about the 26-year-old woman who was shot numerous times. This after witnessing her colleague gunned down and killed inside a medical lab in Bradenton, where she works. Police say Keith Roberts walked into that lab, shot and killed his ex-girlfriend, and then shot her coworker, who witnessed it all.
The shooting left Burnham dead and her coworker fighting for her life.
He was shot multiple times. I mean, shotgun blast and handgun blasts.
Multiple 911 callers flooded the line, describing a black Ford Edge leaving the scene, giving officers a direction, a description, a thread to pull. Officers arrived to find 2 women shot, 1 dead, 1 alive, barely.
Police say 1 woman is dead and another woman is injured following a shooting at a medical complex in Bradenton. Detectives put up yellow crime scene tape surrounding a medical and office complex following a shooting Thursday afternoon that happened just before 1.
Officers were on scene within minutes and located 2 women who had been shot inside of a office that processes blood samples.
The first officers on scene applied 3 tourniquets to Summer Freitag before EMS arrived. They then personally escorted the ambulance to the hospital to make sure she got there. She was alive. Barely. Bradenton police treated this as an active shooter situation immediately. Every available unit deployed. The surrounding medical complex, dental offices, labs, clinics full of people who had just heard gunshots through the walls, went into lockdown. PIO Meredith Sensulo described it. A commercial area, the middle of a workday, medical buildings in every direction. The level of fear in that complex was real. But investigators had something working in their favor almost immediately. Witnesses. Multiple people had seen the black Ford Edge leave. They didn't look away. They paid attention. They called 911 and they gave officers what they needed, a license plate. RLCF 32. Bradenton Police Chief Josh Kramer would say of those witnesses later, "They are heroes. They stood up and said, 'I know information on this.' That plate number became the thread, and investigators pulled it fast." Officers determined the vehicle was heading toward the DeSoto Bridge. Bradenton PD coordinated in real time with the Manatee County Sheriff's Office and the Palmetto Police Department. The net closed. At 1:12 p.m., exactly 24 minutes after the shooting, Roberts was pulled over near the Bradenton Area Convention Center in Palmetto. He was still in the car, before officers could complete the stop, before any formal questioning, before Miranda rights were read. Roberts spoke. He asked, "How many people died? One or two?" He didn't ask if anyone was hurt. He didn't ask what was happening. He asked how many people died, as if the options were already fixed in his mind and he was simply waiting to find out which number it was. He was arrested within the hour. Roberts agreed to be interviewed by the Manatee Homicide Investigation Unit. He didn't ask for a lawyer. He talked. He told investigators he had been thinking about killing Myshaela Burnham for at least 2 years. Not since the breakup. Not since the phone call that morning, for 2 years. He told them the relationship had included jealousy and domestic violence, and that she had left him because of it. He said he killed her because he did not want her to be with anyone else. He said he was apologetic, that he knew he had made a horrible decision. And then, in the same interview, in the same breath almost, he told investigators that even if he could do that day over again, he would still kill her. Drop a comment below. I want to know what you think about what you just heard, because when I read that interview, I had to stop, and I think you know why. Keep watching, because what comes next is just as important. On February 3rd, 2026, the probable cause affidavit was unsealed in Manatee County Court. The public saw for the first time, in documented legal detail, exactly what Roberts had told investigators. The 2-year premeditation, the 2-hour call, the clarity he said he felt, the statement about doing it again. Myshaela's sister Brianna read it. And what she said publicly is the sentence in this entire story that I keep coming back to. Reading his words to police, it's made me feel even more distraught because I was not aware of their relationship and how toxic it was. She didn't know. Nobody in the family knew. This is where the story opens into something larger than one man and one crime. Myshaela had kept the abuse hidden, not out of weakness, not out of shame, though she had every right to feel whatever she felt. She kept it hidden because that is what survival in these situations often looks like. You manage it, you contain it, you protect the people around you from the weight of it, because telling them creates consequences you're not sure you can control. She was showing up for her son, for her job, for her church, for her family, for every person in her life who depended on her warmth and her energy and her presence. She was carrying it so they didn't have to. Roberts admitted a 2-year premeditation. Let that settle for a second. That means at some point, while they were still together, while Myshaela was still in that relationship and trying to navigate it, he had already begun thinking about ending her life. The violence she was experiencing had a layer beneath it that she never knew existed. She left him in August 2025. She did the right thing. She got out. She was building something new. But she could not outrun a plan that had started before she even made the decision to leave. At his first court appearance, Roberts showed little emotion, no collapse, no visible weight, the same composure he had carried into that medical building, the same steadiness he had shown when he asked how many people died from the back of a police car. This was not a man who snapped. This was a man who had spent 2 years deciding, who had sat with the idea long enough that by the time January 15th arrived, he was ready. Emotionally prepared, psychologically settled. The preparation showed in how he moved, in how he spoke afterward, in how he sat in that courtroom. Keith Roberts Jr. was charged with 1 count of first-degree murder with a firearm and 1 count of attempted first-degree murder with a firearm. He appeared before a Manatee County judge the day after the shooting, Little emotion, held without bail. His arraignment was scheduled for February 13th, 2026. As of the most recent verified public reporting, he remains in Manatee County Jail awaiting trial. No trial date has been publicly confirmed. No plea has been entered on public record. Summer Freytag, 26, survived, shot 4 times by shotgun blast and handgun rounds. 3 tourniquets applied by officers before EMS arrived. Escorted to Blake Hospital.
Left arm, the brachial artery had been severed, so they had to go in and repair that as soon as she got to the hospital. And then her right leg was also shot. It completely shattered her knee, as well as the bones in her upper leg and lower leg.
Her sister Savannah found out from a frantic call from their boss. Someone came in with a gun and started shooting. In the days that followed, Summer was described as a living miracle. She was at her desk doing her job. She witnessed a murder, and then she was shot for witnessing it. Roberts himself admitted to investigators he could not explain why he shot her. He just did. She faces a long road, physical recovery, emotional recovery, for something she had absolutely no part in creating. If this story matters to you, share it. Share it for Myshaela, share it for Summer, share it for every woman who has ever stayed silent about something that was happening to her. This story deserves to be heard. Brianna Fisher spoke publicly in the aftermath, not just about Myshaela, about something bigger. I would just tell other people who are in this situation, try not to feel embarrassed about what is being done to you. You are not doing anything to cause this. There shouldn't be any shame or embarrassment for asking for help. She said it for whoever is reading that arrest report and recognizing their own life in it. The system moved quickly once the crime occurred. 25 minutes to arrest. Witnesses stepped up. Officers applied tourniquets. There was no failure in the response. The failure, if we are honest about it, came earlier. In the years Myshaela spent managing domestic violence without intervention. In the gap between what was happening inside that relationship and what the people who loved her were allowed to see. The system can only respond to what it is given. And Myshaela, like so many survivors, was carrying it alone. Keith Roberts Jr. remains in Manatee County Jail, charged, awaiting trial. The legal process is moving, slowly, as it always does. Summer Freytag continues her recovery. Myshaela's son is 6 years old. He is being loved and cared for by the family she left behind. She left in August 2025. That was the right decision. That was the brave decision. But he had been inside this plan for 2 years before she made it. The warning signs were there. In the jealousy, in the violence, in the way he treated her when no one was watching. They were just hidden from the people who could have helped her name them. There's a particular cruelty in that. That a woman can do everything right, leave, rebuild, move forward, thrive, and still be inside a danger she cannot fully see. Her sister said she could not wait to turn 30, that she was thriving, that she brought her energy into every space she occupied. She had a 6-year-old son who was old enough to know his mother, who will grow up with a GoFundMe started by his aunt, because the people who loved Myshaela were already thinking about his future, even in the middle of their grief. She was a baton twirler who became a woman of faith, a student who became a home health coordinator, a daughter and a sister who became a mother, a person who was, by every account, still becoming. She was 29, and she'll forever be 29. This case is not rare. That is the most painful thing about it. A man who spent 2 years deciding to take a life. A woman who kept the danger hidden because survival sometimes looks like silence. A workplace that became a crime scene because she had the audacity to move on. The danger in these cases is almost never the stranger. It is almost always the person who already knew the desk, who already knew the walk from the door, who already knew exactly where she would be. If this case stayed with you, the silence that surrounds domestic violence, the danger that hides in plain sight inside relationships people couldn't see clearly from the outside. I covered another case on this channel that asks the same questions in a completely different setting. A woman who also kept it hidden. A system that also came too late. It's already up. Go find it. And if you haven't subscribed yet, this is the work we do here at True Crime Anatomy. Every single case, every single week. Subscribe and hit the bell so you never miss one. And if this episode meant something to you, leave a comment with Myshaela's name. Let's make sure she is remembered here, not just as a case, but as a person. I'll see you in the next one.